This week on FMF Unboxed, we shoot an episode in secret. In the world of filmmaking, opportunities are everywhere. You just got to keep your eyes open. So at a recent barbecue full of good food, good times, and good friends, I decided to carpe diem and pick up a couple shots at my friend's house. Like this one. And this one. And this one.
See, taking photos of my cat.
Very photogenic cat.
It is a very photogenic cat.
Look at that cat.
And a still picture of this. Then once I was ready to edit, I took the still photo of the alarm panel into Photoshop and just removed all the LED displays and buttons and distracting things using the patch tool and the clone stamp tool. It's actually pretty easy. Then I was able to bring that into Premiere and essentially use it as a background plate and put new information on the LED display. This is a very, very simple version of an effect we did in Season 2's Crisis Averted, which in itself I learned from an episode of Film Riot. So for this one, super easy, I just downloaded an LED font off the internet and put in all the numbers and text and stuff that I wanted to display. Now to make the numbers appear on screen as if they're being typed in on a keypad, I just add the crop filter and adjust it to reveal each number, putting a keyframe after each one. Then I just right click on each keyframe and change it to hold. That way, rather than fading in or sliding in, they just pop in as though they're being entered in on a keyboard. Then once that was done, I took all my type layers and nested them together into one group. That way I don't have to apply the same effects and changes to every clip. I can just apply it to the group. And all I'm going to do is then select that group, go into opacity, and lower the opacity of the text to blend it in and make it look more natural, because on an actual LED screen like this, it's not going to have that much contrast. So lowering the opacity helps blend them in and sell the effect that they are light-emitting diodes, as opposed to black text on a still picture. Now all the video clips were shot on a monopod, but for a couple of them I really wanted to lock things down, so for that I just go to Effects and add in Warp Stabilizer, and just change it from smooth motion to no motion, and that will lock it down and give me a nice shot on tripod look. If you're going to do any like compositing or visual effects, this is super handy because then you don't have to motion track and you can always add in camera shake later in After Effects. And that's how we did it, which means it's time for Q&A. This week's question comes from Briefcase Joe. Briefcase Joe wants to know, how did you do the suicide shot? You know what, Joe? That's a great question. I'm surprised we didn't shoot any behind the scenes for this because it was actually pretty awesome. If you don't know what he's talking about this shot right here.
The time had come.
Anyway, Joe, it's super easy to pull off. All we did was had a GoPro and a monopod. That's all we needed. A monopod, if you don't know, it's like a tripod, but with just one leg. So we put the GoPro on the monopod, tilted it so it's pointing straight up. We unhooked the legs of the monopod, and I held on to the last leg with a death grip. Then we just acted out the scene and dropped it over the edge of the bridge and let the monopod unfold on the way down. We shot it from 3 or 4 different angles, 3 or 4 different focal lengths, wide, medium, narrow, 2.7K, super view. And then in post, I just picked the 2 best shots and cut them together. In fact, we start wide, and halfway through the drop, I use the whip to hide a cut to the second shot, which is narrow, so it looks like we're falling faster. And super easy. Super nervous though, because that was like the first thing we shot with the GoPro, and if it didn't work or I dropped it, no more GoPro. So yeah, super dope, super awesome, super easy. And that's how we did it, Joe. Just a monopod and a GoPro. So thanks for your question. If you guys have a question you want me to answer on the show, leave it in the comments below or shoot an email to frostedminifears@gmail.com. In the meantime, like, share, favorite this video. Sharing is caring. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, because on Wednesday, it's an all-new episode of Frosted Mini Fears, and 1 week from today, I'll show you how we did it on an all-new FMF Unboxed.